we're very supportive of the CPCs,
Yeah.
of the whole CPC idea.
Yeah.
But there's a danger here, and this is what we need to really be focusing in on. Crisis pregnancy centers are not created to end abortion.
Nope.
They're created to end abortions
Zzz.
with an
Plural.
S. They're created to end abortions one at a time.
Case-by-case basis.
Right. And it's a noble effort. It's a humanitarian effort that you would say these women are in trouble, they need help. The pro-aborts sure aren't going to help them.
No.
So-
In fact, you told me that there are a number of times that when abortion clinics have a woman who thinks that she wants to keep it, but she's not sure what to do, they'll direct her to
To a CPC.
a CPC.
Right. And then come out and attack that CPC. But anyway,
Yeah.
the point is that CPCs aren't constituted and never were designed to end abortion.
No.
They're designed to end abortions. Over the years, if you went back to the early days of the CPCs, and I was in the pro-life movement in the early days of the CPCs, they represented 1 or 2% of the pro-life effort in America.
Yeah.
It was an addendum to the pro-life movement. Today, I think they represent 75% of the pro-life movement.
They went from being basically the Red Cross version of the pro-life movement
Right.
now to the front lines.
Yeah, that was the point I made when I first started writing about this.
Oh, I thought I came up with that. Well,
No, you
I've just
didn't.
been around you
You
too
read it
long.
in Siege is where you read it. I wrote in Siege that what we have to understand is that the CPCs are the pro-life movement's version of the Red Cross. It's a humanitarian effort. It's very necessary. It's something that God would want us to do.
Yeah, we're not minimizing
Right.
the necessity or the importance of them at all.
Right. But let's recognize something. Humanitarian efforts don't win wars. And this is a war.
Yeah, we have to recognize their actual function.
If you can imagine back in World War II, when Patton's Third Army was going across Europe, the fate of the world was resting on Patton's Third Army, literally, if you go back and read about it.
Yeah, we were a gnat's whiskers away from
Yeah.
not winning World
Not
War
winning.
II.
And without Patton, we would not have won it. Now, let's imagine that Patton's going across, and one of the big problems that Patton had was supply lines. I mean, one time he was held up for days. His whole army stuck because they had
one
no
spot.
gas. In one spot because they had no gasoline.
Can you imagine how terrifying that would have to be?
Yeah.
You can't move anywhere. You can't go anywhere. You can't move your tanks because you're
You're
on
out of
empty
gas. You're just standing around waiting on gas to get there.
in the middle of an enemy field.
So you had an army of 1 million men
Yeah.
that Patton was in control of. And you had to feed them every day. You had to clothe them every day. So if your supply lines were cut off, you were in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Imagine that for a moment, Eisenhower, who was head of the Allied forces, had called Patton and said, General, you're going to be held up another couple of weeks or a month because we're going to divert a lot of the supplies over to the Red Cross.
I can't even imagine the words that he would choose. You
Oh, yeah.
probably couldn't put it on,
Couldn't put it on air.
television.
But had that happened, then we would have lost that war. We'd all be speaking German right now.
Yeah.
Patton understood, and everybody understood, no, the Red Cross is not going to win this war. This is a noble thing that we're doing. We should be doing it. We should be supporting the Red Cross. But it should be an addendum to the Army and to the Navy and the Marines. We should not be taking supplies and support away from them to give to this humanitarian effort, because humanitarian efforts do not win wars. That's a concept that we need to keep in mind here. Yeah, we need to support the CPCs as an addendum. But if we continue this evolution toward stopping abortions being the focus of the pro-life movement,
Then we're never going to win.
we're doomed. We're history. And that's something that we really, really need to think about.